Now, our next presentation is Dr. Ian Pringle. Now, this is to completely change pace, a mining company. So it's unrare at an investor event that there's one mining company presenting. So please welcome Ian to the stage. He's going to be taking us through Broken Hill prospecting.
Thanks very much, Steve. Thank you. It wouldn't be an Australian investment conference without some degree of mining involved, but I'll try not to bore, and I'll explain to you all why we're unique. We're here for a special reason. We're not the usual mining company or exploration company in Australia. We've got a special product. We're looking at a very large cobalt deposit up near Broken Hill, and cobalt is an unusual minor metal, and I'll run you through why it's unusual and why it's important and why we have a fantastic growth potential. Firstly, though, we have the obligatory important notices. We have forward-looking statements, and you all have read this, and we're a listed company. But firstly, cobalt. It's a metal of the future. And cobalt has special qualities. It's very hard. It's got a high melting point. It's also magnetic, strong magnetic mineral, and it's a strategic metal. It's a strategic metal in the US, China, Japan, and Europe. None of those companies have very much in the way of, or no production as far as USA, Japan and Europe go. China has a very little bit of production, but they use 90% plus of the world's cobalt. Cobalt over the last few years has ranged in price from between $22,000 to $110,000 a tonne. Currently it's about $30,000, so it's at the lower end of that spectrum. It's got a long way to go. But the important thing about cobalt, it's used in so many applications, and the main one is at the moment is superalloys. A lot of superalloys for turbines, wind turbines, electrical turbines, jet engines, all aircraft have got a fair amount of cobalt in the metal to make it harder and more heat resistant. But the big growth area is in rechargeable batteries. Lithium-ion batteries, many of them contain as much as 60 or 65% cobalt. That's the iron component. And the reason they have a lot of cobalt is that cobalt can hold the electric charge a lot longer. And what's important about cobalt is these are the new batteries that are going to be in the new electric cars that are coming out over the next few years. Huge amount of cobalt in the batteries, and there's going to be a big demand for cobalt going forward. It's also used in vitamin B12, which is a cobalt-based vitamin, important for blood and brain. It's, as I said, strong magnetic. Pretty well in all your laptops, pretty well anything that has electrical, needs an electrical current but needs a high-quality system, has a little bit of cobalt in there, so it's used very, very widely. A whole lot of other things, I won't go through them all. Where is it from? Why are they so special? Well, cobalt deposits pretty well all, over 60% of the world's cobalt was produced out of Central Africa last year, and that was the Democratic Republic of Congo. Not the most flavour of the month, and a lot of that went to China for refining. So a little bit like rare earths, Chinese have tried to control the market in cobalt. They export then, of course, to the US and Europe. And as I said, USA and Japan. USA actually consumed something like 53% of the world's cobalt last year, and 15% of that was recycled. The rest was imported. It comes from a byproduct mining in the Congo from copper mining, and there's also cobalt produced from nickel mines, some in Australia, as a byproduct from lateritic nickel operations. So there's a little bit of a trickle through from a whole lot of sources, but basically the bulk of it comes out of the Congo. I've just put this, you won't read the names on the left. This is a Fraser Institute survey. Came out actually only a few months ago. It's a study of the top 76, I think it is, states and countries worldwide, and you won't read them, but I've put the Democratic Republic on there on the two of the graphs, the infrastructure graph and the political stability. They're right at the bottom of just about every graph the Fraser Institute puts out and have been for the number of years. South Australia, New South Wales, I've put those on board. You can see infrastructure in New South Wales right up the top there, and everything else we're up in the top 30-odd% of pretty well everything. So we've got a big advantage over the Congo. Just where are we? Well, this is a map of Western New South Wales showing Broken Hill. We're a very single-focused project company. We're focused on an exploration licence and 2 granted mining leases, and we're right halfway between the road, Broken Hill and the border, South Australia, and that's the main road. You can see there just to the north of us, and the main trunk railway line. So we're a fantastic location. We've completed a number of drilling programs over the last few months, and most recently we've had some really spectacular intersections of some new deposits, some new deposit we call the Railway Prospect. I won't bore you with a lot of geology, but that's what the landscape looks like. That little hill in the middle is called Big Hill. We've drilled a few little shallow holes into that. It's open-ended. Basically, there's a number of million tonnes sitting in that particular hill, and the hill I've taken the photo off is Pyrite Hill, and we've got about 15 million tonnes sitting at the surface. It all outcrops. It's easy to find, and the rock doesn't look anything special. It averages about 20% pyrite, and all the cobalt is in the mineral called pyrite. I don't expect you to look at this, but the main thing, take-home message is this. You can see the railway line runs right through it within a few hundred metres of the deposits and the mining lease. The brown areas show the mineralisation, basically. A lot of it's at surface, and it's quite easy to find. We have undertaken some geophysical studies. This is a map on the top left here, just to show you that it's really easy to find. This is conductivity and high chargeability, and that pyrite just stands out very much, very, very simply. And a drill hole undertaken earlier this year, the mineralisation is just a black pyrite. This is a fairly massive zone shown on the bottom. Just as a cross-section through the deposit, again, I won't bore you, just to give you some idea of the extent of the mineralisation. It's about 300 metres across. It's high grades in red and lower grades in the pinky colour. It's open at depth. So what we've got is 35 plus million tonnes of just under 2 pounds per tonne of cobalt, but it's just really the top of a large, very, very large system. Starts at the surface, and goodness knows how deep it goes, probably many hundreds of metres. We've still yet to test that. The drill rig, here we are. You can see the Sydney to Adelaide railway line. This is one of the. This is on the middle of the railway prospect. There's no people live within 15 kilometres. It's very low intensity land use. A few goats and sheep over a property that stretches for many thousands of hectares. Impact environmentally, it's very manageable. No environmental issues really at all. Low rainfall, as you can see. We have granted leases. We have a fantastic possible mine location very close to Broken Hill, which, as you know, is a mining centre and has been for over 100 years. And we're right beside the main trunk railway. Fantastic location. What we're up to, we've just completed our drilling. We've got lots and lots upside still, but we've got a resource that can probably support a 7.5 million tonne a year open cut mining operation. That produced something like 7,000 tonne of cobalt in a concentrate, and we're looking at we're looking at the moment scoping studies to document some of that, some of the costs involved in building that sort of an operation. So up in front of us, we've got pre-feasibility studies before we get a development approval, which we would hope to have in mid-2015 with early production in 2016. So it's a pretty exciting project. This is a little bit about the company. We listed in early 2011. We raised $4.5 million. We've got about $1.5 million in the bank, and we've chugged along. We haven't done anything dramatic because cobalt prices really haven't done very much at all. But we're just a small group, but we have a fantastic upside. What I haven't talked to you about all that much is the byproduct. We have a potential sulfuric acid user in the pyrite, which contains the cobalt, and the sulfuric acid is quite high demand at the moment in lots of different areas. It's mainly used for fertiliser. You can have as much phosphate in the world, but without sulfuric acid you can't make a fertiliser out of it. So our pyrite can produce sulfuric acid as well as cobalt, and there's a big world demand for that. There's a demand for it at Olympic Dam. There's demand for it at large rare earth new development, hopefully going ahead very shortly in Dubbo. Lateritic nickel deposits require sulfuric acid. There's a hungry market in China for sulfuric acid. We can export pyrite not as an acid form, but as a solid, much more transportable and safe form to transport through pyrite, and we can produce sulfuric acid where it needs to be used. So that's the idea of looking at a scoping study going forward to produce a pyrite concentrate containing a lot of cobalt, which we can also produce as part of a sulfuric acid plant. That's the end. That's actually taken from the middle of Railway Prospect, looking to the southwest towards Brigger Hill, just to give you some idea of the size of the project. And you can see Pyrite Hill away out there to the in the distance. Anybody that's interested, please visit our website or contact me afterwards, and I can give you a copy of the talk. Thank you very much.